Welcome back, Comedians, to another travel with Aspie vlog that I need to continue and complete before I continue on to some other planned videos, podcasts and everything else. So those of you who are new, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie Answers. I am a content creator, advocate, navigator based on autism and mental health, podcaster and so on and so forth. So if you're into any of these type videos that I post, I usually post roughly 3 to 4 times a week, but like I said, my schedule might change, but I'll let you guys know when my schedule is and so on and so forth if you keep following me on my social medias and so on and so forth. So in saying this is, like I said, a continuation for this travel with Aspie vlog series with FireTheLier and I, especially for the sake of, if you haven't seen the one previously based on the trip to Waitomo where we went caving, I suggest that you can click on the card above me, the description box below me, to understand where I'm coming from for this next continuation, because obviously this one's all about the Waitomo King Country tour guide, what you can do and see and stuff, and some of it also will bring out the history of it. So as you're aware, basically FireTheLier and I was on our trip up to Otrahonga Waitomo Caves, or I think it was Aranui Caves or something, even though it was subdivided, but I'll bring you out some information now, or history about these. The Waitomo Caves were discovered in the late 1800s by a local Māori chief, Tani Tenorau, who owned the land on which they were located. Tenorau and surveyor Fred Mace explored these caves together in 1887, floating in on a raft of flax flower stalks. Tenorau later found an entrance to the cave on land, which is the same entry point that is used today by many people in many centuries. The caves were then opened to the tourists in the year of 1889, with the local Māori acting as your tour guide. Many of the staff working at the caves today are their direct descendant of Chief Tane Tenorau and his wife Huti, as the cave and its lands were returned to his family in 1989, following a period of government administration. The nearby Ruakuri Cave, however, is Waitomo's largest or longest underground guided walking tour, and is also known for the only wheelchair accessible cave in the southern hemisphere. Ruakuri is famed for its spiritual link to Māori and its incredible limestone formation and spectacular cavern. And before I continue on, also you'll have a map above me as well as some imagery based on these caves and other features that will be shared today. The village Waitomo Caves is named for the hundreds of caves that is presented in this particular karst landscape. The limestone landscape of the Waitomo district area has been the centre of this increasingly popular commercial caving tourism experience since the year before the 1900s. Initially mostly consisting of impromptu tour guided by your local Māori, a large cave system near Waitomo Cave were nationalised by the Crown and managed as a relatively gentle tourism attraction from 1904 onward. A 1915 tour guide said it reached by railway to Hangatiki, then 6 miles by coach along a good road. A visit to Waitomo Caves made number 14 amongst a list of 101 Kiwi must-do in a New Zealand Automobile Association poll over 20,000 motorists published in the year of 2007, and in the year of 2004 around 400,000 visitors entered the caves in this area. The Waitomo Caves Museum provides information about the karst landscape, caves and caving, and the history of the area. The tourist cave. Waitomo stream flows beneath the Ruakuri natural arch. You can see in the map above me of where you can find it. Companies specialise in leading tourists through the caves of the area from easily accessible areas with hundreds of tourists per hour in the peak season to extreme sports like crawls into cave systems which are only seen by a few tourists each day. Caves are noted for their stalactite and stalagmite blaze, and in caves with streams running through it, presence of glowworms, the fungus Arachnoga luminosa as it's known for. The Waitomo Walkway runs through the valley of the Waitomo stream, a tributary of the Waipa River, for 3.3 kilometres, which is 2.1 miles from the village to the Ruakuri Scenic Reserve. At the reserve, the Ruakuri Walk leads to the short caves to the Ruakuri Natural Bridge. Te Araroa, a national long-distance walkway, passes through the Waitomo. The section from Maiperongia joins the Waitomo Walkway to enter inside the village. The 17.5 kilometre or 10.9 mile section to Te Kuiri goes over to Mangapo River Suspension Bridge and through Kahatia forest. There are numerous limestone caves in the South Auckland district, the best known being the Waitomo, Ruakuri and Aranui Caves, which again, as I said, FireTheLier and I explored one of the caves by doing a black abseiling, if you will, or water rafting activity, which you can click in the icon above me on the description box below. These have been developed as tourist attractions at Waitomo, about 50 miles south of Hamilton. They have their setting in attractive surroundings of bizarre limestone outcrops, patches of bush and streams and fields. Guides from the nearby hostel lead visitors along paths which are lit both for safety and for easy inspection of the limestone formation. The boat journey along the underground river is to the glowworm grotto, which is lit by countless tiny clear lights of glowworms, is one of the many unique attractions of these caves. Caves are channels that have been dissolved out of limestone by underground streams over many thousands of years. Water seeping down through the limestone becomes fully charged lime in solution. As this drips from the cavern roof, some of the water evaporates, leaving a minute deposit of lime behind. This, with time, all the caves have become elaborated by stalagmites and incrustations. Many of these, namely the bride jewels, the organ, the white terrace, the blanket chamber, etc., are of the intricate design and beautiful form. The name Waitomo means water entering a hole, or more aptly, water passing through a hole. Okay, as you explore deep down into the Ruakuri Cave at Waitomo, you can journey deep down the spectacular spiral entrance way of the Ruakuri Cave to see the glowworms and the extraordinary limestone galleries which will take your breath away. Don't miss this uniquely sustainable caving experience. I guarantee you'll probably enjoy it if you're into one of these. A solar powered cave, Ruakuri Cave is accessible to everyone with a fully wheelchair and pushchair accessible walkway, but it has been known to mankind photography and video are permitted in selected areas of the cave, but not all. Starts with a walk through the spectacular spiral entranceway that winds around about 1.6 kilometers down into the depths of the cave. Stunning limestone formations, fossils and crystal formations are part of your cave experience. However, you will see examples of jewels, stalactites and stalagmites with the limestone. The thunder of subterranean waterfalls can be heard in the distance as you watch as the black water rafters bob along the river below on a giant tractor-sized tire. In Māori language, Rua means den and Kuri means dog. According to Māori legend, Ruakuri Cave was first discovered 400 to about 500 years ago. Tani Tenoro, chief of Kawhia at the time, took a war party to attack the local Ngāti Po tribe to gain the land in the Waitomo area. A hunter was sent to spare birds for food and discovered the entrance to the cave, which was occupied by a number of wild dogs at the time. The wild dogs attacked the hunter, who dropped his catch and fled. Later, traps were set by the war party to capture these dogs, and they were killed and eaten. On the success of his attack, the chief took his people to live near the cave. The cave entrance was used by a Māori or Māoris as a burial ground and is now a sacred area and protected by the spiral entrance way. Glowworms at Ruakuri Cave, known as New Zealand glowworms, the Arachnopampa luminosa, is a species of fungus gnat that is native to New Zealand. The larval stage in Imago produce a blue-green bioluminescent. As they fish for food, glowworms create a breathtaking sea of starry lights above your head when you're walking into the entryway of the cave. Glowworms in Ruakuri. Glowworms build snares made of silk fibers coated with mucus. The snares then consist of tubes in which the globes are suspended from. These long-hanging filaments are coated in sticky beads of mucus. Glowworms emit a pale light which attracts insects toward the sticky threads of the snare. The snare usually catches the small bugs such as midges, but insects are as big as cockroaches can be trapped in them. And the last not least, there's some bushwalks around Waitomo region to experience, which are the top 5, which is the Ruakuri bushwalk. Visit this loop walk to see a display of the glowworms as mentioned. The loop walk also showcases natural limestone cliffs that Waitomo is well known for, as well as the Ruakuri Cave. Although the walk only takes 45 minutes to complete, allow extra time to take photos. Enjoy the night gate. Tip here is to take a torch if you are doing it at night time. Waitomo Walkway. This trail begins opposite the Waitomo Cave Discovery Centre. Get a view of Waitomo's spectacular limestone formations from the lookout. This is a 2.5 height which connect with the Ruakuri bushwalk for an extended height. Mangapohu Natural Bridge. Drive down to Anga Road to the loop walk, do the loop walk, which takes about a good 20 minutes or so to reach the natural bridge. The natural bridge is then known for as a spectacular 17-metre limestone arch, which you will find fossiled oysters and limestone outcrop. Marakupa Falls. Just past the natural bridge are the Marakupa Falls. 10-minute bushwalk from the Te Anga Road so takes you to a viewing platform overlooking these falls. The waterfall stands 43 metres above and is often described as one of the most spectacular waterfalls in New Zealand. So So quick brief history about the Aranui Cave. In November 1910, a young Māori Ruakuri Aranui was chasing wild pigs that had strayed into a local reserve. His dog chased a pig down a steep hill and the pig suddenly appeared, and so did his dog. Dog's barking led Ruakuri to a small hole in the side of the hill. He then crawled inside and with a mat found them both in a high chamber that continued into the darkness. Ruakuri Aranui went to Waitomo and told the manager in charge of the caves. They both then re-entered the caves, exploring it further, absolutely fascinated by its great beauty. And last but not least on the list is Tikawiri. This is another charming town near Waitomo, which is Tikawiri, which is known the sheep-rearing capital of the world. Visit the giant shearing statue on State Highway 30. It's also a great place to base yourself if you're interested in cycling the timber trail, following a path of the old logging roads and tram lines. So this quickly ends a real short, brief tour guide for the area of Waitomo King Country tour guide. Stay tuned for the next one over, but in the meantime, before I leave you, feel free, above me there should be the previous video I mentioned about FireTheLier's activity based on our caving, if you want to see that, as well as some other video that YouTube will feature as a featured video or so on and so forth, or else I'll try and add the playlist up above me to actually showcase some of the actual trips that FireTheLier and I went on.